What's up, everybody? Sensei here. Welcome to the show. Welcome to another video. This is straight impulse here. I was out riding today. It was snowing in Jersey, so I had no intentions on riding. Like I always said, if there's snow on the ground or it's wet or raining, I'm not going to ride. That's just me. But the snow cleared up, and I jumped on a wheel, slapped some miles on it. And late last night, I think it was last night, late anyway, or earlier during the day anyway, my days are running together. I watched Jack's video from Electric Dreams on the Hero, and I wanted to do a reaction to it. So Jack gets all the credit. Please go sub to his channel. He puts out great content. And I waited a little bit because I just wanted, I didn't want to overlap his video, but I thought it was a great video, and I've been eyeballing the Hero. So I'm just gonna react to this video. I like the Hero. I know some people have, their if, ands, and buts about Godway, but I like Godway wheels, and I think the Hero is going to do what the EX didn't do. Okay, so let's take a look at this video. We're going to react to it. I'm going to stop periodically, make some comments, and we're just going to let Jack do his thing. Again, please go sub to Electric Dreams. Jack puts out phenomenal content. And all right, let's get this video underway.
This is the Begode Hero. It's a 2,800 watt motor with a 1,800 watt hour battery. This is out here to replace the Begode X, that terrible suspension wheel that Begode came out with last year. Arguably one of the worst suspension EUCs ever put out, or the worst EUC ever made actually.
Now, I agree to disagree with that. I think that the EX, I don't think it was really made for off-road. It wasn't. I think for street riding, I think the wheel would fare well. It would knock the edge off of the bumpy roads. Now, as far as off-roading, no. That suspension, the rod sticking out, I think eventually you would end up bending one of the rods on a rock or a stump or something like that. But as far as for street riding, I think the biggest issue is, that was a lot of PSI in that suspension. And, that thing would rupture. It would be like a bullet coming out of it, if you understand what I'm talking about. I just think that they didn't think it over too well. But again, for street riding, I think that EX was okay. Now, is there going to be people that disagree with me? Yes. But I think that they hit the jackpot with the Hero. So, Jack, continue, bro.
Hero a worthy replacement of the X? And in what ways is this better than the S20 Eagle? Well, watch this video and find out.
That's a sweet looking wheel. That's a sweet looking wheel. The Hero to me looks more robust. It looks like it can take a better knock than what the S20 does. Now, as far as performance, that's a coin toss-up. Again, it's what are you looking to do? Are you a serious off-roader? Or are you a person that street rides most of the time like me and occasionally rides a trail? I occasionally ride trails. So the Hero would seem to be a better choice for me, but we'll see.
So for starters, this is a much better wheel than the X. The suspension works a whole lot better, and the ride is smooth with plenty of torque. This is a torque motor. The taillight, in my opinion, is one of the best looking taillights on any EUC. And they've also included these stock power pads, which fit directly on the design of the wheel. Now, I do wish that these stock pads are a little bit wider. They also come with stock spiked pedals. These spiked pedals are made by Begode, and they're one of the best spiked pedals I've ever tried. They're aggressive in their height of the spikes, and they work just really well. And the handle. The handle, even though it looks very similar to the S18, it actually has a spring-loaded mechanism. So when you click it into the lowest position, it won't bounce out. And when you push the button on the top, it actually springs out. So it's
Look at that. So he picked that thing up by the handle? Wow. I haven't seen any EUCs yet that you can actually pick up by the handle. Kind of like that actually. Because I was looking at it, I'm like, how are you going to pick this thing up if you got to load it into your car, or you have to put it on a train? I like that. Because before that, I was like, you'd have to bend down and pick it up by the pedals, by the pedal hangers. Let's look at that again. Let's look at that one more time.
So when you click it into the lowest position, it won't bounce out. And when you push the button on the top, it actually springs out. So it's actually quite simple to use.
Wow, I like that. Okay, let's take a look at that. Okay, display is quite good. You see every bit of the information you need clearly: speed, battery, temperature, and total distance. I do like that because the display on my RS honestly is useless. I don't look at that thing when I'm riding. When I stop, I'll probably look down at it, but otherwise, I really don't pay attention to the display. It's just in an awkward position. So to be able just to glance down and have that big screen right underneath your eyeballs, that's perfect.
Now, let's talk about the suspension. At this current time, Begode has not told me exactly what PSI I should be using. Now, given my knowledge of being on two other suspension wheels, I figured around 200 PSI is roughly what I should be using at about 88 kilos. They've basically just told me, feel it out. Not really the most scientific answer. I wish they told me exactly what.
I know, right? Yeah, come on, man. You got to give them some answers. You got to give them something to play with. Just fill it out. That's funny. All right. But Jack's ridden enough wheels, so he knows what he's doing.
I have since lowered it a little bit. There is no dampening on the suspension, so what you get is a really fast rebound. And if you go over speed bumps, it sounds like it's gonna hit itself because it rebounds so quick, and there isn't anything to soften that rebound.
Now, that could be a problem for serious off-roading. That's why I had stated in the very beginning that I'm thinking this might be a better suspension wheel for street riding than hardcore off-road, my opinion. And the S20 would be more for hardcore off-roading. And we still have to see what Emotion's what they're going to show for their hand. Because right now, I keep saying Emotion, they're in one of the best positions right now to make a major power play with their next suspension wheel. But we still have to see what's going on with them. But right now, as it stands, the S20 seems to be the hardcore off-roading wheel of choice, in my opinion.
Now, the suspension is bouncy and it's comfortable, and it's good for city riding. However, just like the V11, I would not recommend using this as a trail riding machine. If it's pretty smooth, flat trails, then okay, but if it's aggressive trails...
All right, Jack, we're on the same page. We're on the same page, Jack. I'm picking up what you're laying down. I'm picking up what you're laying down, Jack. Yes, yes, I can see that. Again, I'm not a hardcore trail rider, so this wheel would be perfect for me.
or just really uneven terrain, expect to go slower. You won't be cruising as you would on something with a dampening system.
Wheel looks good though. Wheel looks really, really good.
So just by looking at the design of the Begode Hero, you can tell that they've integrated the seat. Now there isn't a foam on top, but you can, add some piece of neoprene foam on the top if you'd like. But as I said in my previous video on the Commander, I thought that was an unbelievable wheel to sit and ride. This one beats that out. Your butt kind of just sits right here, and you don't have to worry about it sliding off because you have this curvature. Probably one of the best wheels to sit and ride, given that this has suspension and the Commander does not. Additionally, because these power pads are not as wide, you're actually able to sit and not have your bent legs kind of being blocked by these stock pads. So I guess that's a benefit if you're a seated rider. These stock pads will work well. I don't sit and ride that much, so I would still like power pads that are a bit wider.
See, that is my issue right now with my RS. It's very low. It's a low wheel, and I'm 6'1", and my inseam is 34. So I got long legs, and it's just not comfortable to ride on right now. So in order for me to ride the RS, I have to get the original seat, and I would have to add probably about 5 inches of extra padding on top of that, minimum 5 inches of extra padding on top of that in order for me to ride it seated, maybe 6 inches of padding, because I don't want my legs bent underneath me like a jackrabbit. So this wheel looks like it would be ideal for taller riders to ride seated. So let's continue. So far, man, I'm loving it. I'm loving what I'm seeing. You see, I could rock a trail like that. I could ride that on a trail like that. I could do that. See, that's not too aggressive.
So let's talk about the lights. The lights are pretty pathetic, as you guys would expect. It's the same lights as the Commander.
I just love how he's straightforward, man. They're pathetic. But my thing with these AUC manufacturers, you know that the light is crappy when you put it on there. So why put it on there? You know it. So why do it? You know what AUCs you manufacture have good lights. Use the ones that have the good lights. Use that as your benchmark. Why I don't understand why they do things like this, man. This is the kind of crap that makes you just want to take and knock somebody out. It's like, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? Quit cutting corners.
And you guys knew that I was pretty unhappy with the Commander lights. This is no exception. They're pretty shit too. The good news is that around that...
Oh, man, you gotta love Jack, dude. I'm telling you, man. That's the type of person I am. Just cut to the chase and tell it like it is. And he just tells it like it is. You gotta respect him for that. So I guess you gotta run around with an extra light or something.
area, there's a lot of flat surfaces, so you would be able to find a way of, having a friend 3D print and putting a flashlight mount on there for you. But don't expect these to be any good for night riding.
I was signing on the city lights. All this doubt around me, then but look, I got it right. Don't you try.
I'm serious. This might be my next wheel. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Hear me now, you live a petty life. All those nights I lay awake, I pray for better life. Now I wake up with a baddie like I said I might. This a better life, you never tried, I bet it right. This a better life, you never tried, I bet it right. You
The build quality is exceptional. As you guys can see with this tumble down the hill, this is a 50-degree slope. This slope is so steep that I was basically half scared to death going down it. Most of my friends climbed all the way up, but I was kind of way too scared to go all the way up to the top. And
okay, I'm not a mountain goat, so I'm definitely not going to be trying to climb something that steep. So that's impressive. They can make it up a 50-degree grade. That's fantastic. And it didn't burn up or overheat. All right. Now, this is the torque version. Could the high-speed version do that, though? That's what I'm curious of. But that's still impressive. But I'm definitely not going to be riding up anything that steep ever. So, yeah. Hats off to you, Jack. I give you credit, bro. I'm not doing that. Nope.
You know, being able to ride a wheel up a 50-degree slope, first, amazing performance. How this wheel did not burn up. But also, when it tumbled down the hill, it sustained little damage. The only damage it really sustained was this. Now, the stand still works, but I think it's bent, and which has caused this rear side to kind of not match. Now, I think I'll be able to put this back in place. I don't think it's a big issue. Suspension is fine. The top cover kind of popped off, just kind of slapped it, and then it went back into place. But basically, you know, a few scratches here and there. One of the best built Begode wheels ever put out on the market, I would say.
Now, do you think, anyone watching this, leave this in the comments below, do you think if that was the S20, would the S20 take a knock like that? Could you basically pick it up and ride it out of there if it fell down a grade like that? That's something that is questionable. I don't know. I don't think it's, again, my opinion. I don't know if the S20 is built as rugged. But we'll have to see.
Second guess it, I let it set it. It's God's plan, we out here only accepting blessings. I'm stuck with it, this mindset is terminal. In and out different terminals, leveling up is personal. Now I already made it, y'all can miss me. I smack my girl's ass, tell her pinch me. It's hard to believe I made something from...
So is this wheel better than the X? I would say so. It's a whole lot better in terms of suspension. The ride feels a lot more comfortable. The wheel feels balanced. This has a newer firmware. The motherboard is still, you know, their typical Begode motherboards, but they've done something with the firmware which makes the wheel feel refined. And the wheel, how the wheel is balanced is just really easy to control. So I do like that about the wheel. The X didn't have a good suspension and it didn't feel all that nice to ride. The XN, on the other hand, was a fairly good wheel, but that I would say came out kind of by mistake. Now, is this better than the S20? I would say it's better in two ways. If you like a seated riding experience and you want a better handle. This wheel is a lot better to sit and ride than the S20, and the handle is a lot easier to use because the handle on the S20 is at the front, so you kind of have to flip it around to use. But if you don't care about those two aspects, I would still think the S20 is still a better suspension wheel than the Hero. But that's basically my summary of the Begode Hero. Unbelievable, robust suspension wheel by Begode. Best suspension wheel that Begode has ever put out. Definitely the target of trying to beat out and replace the X. They've definitely done it with the Hero. So if you're interested in picking up the Begode Hero, check out the link below. This video is sponsored kindly by EVs, which is a EUC scooter and e-skate dealer based out of Vancouver, Canada, but they do ship to anywhere in North America. So check them out in the link below, or search EEVEES. Yes, it's kind of like the Pokemon on Google, and you should be able to find them.
Okay, so there we have it. A big thank you to Jack from Electric Dreams. Please go sub to his channel after you see this video, or you can stop this video and go sub. I really don't like doing this, mooching on people's videos, but I thought it was a very well presented video about the Hero, and I just wanted to do a reaction to it because I've been eyeballing this wheel for a while now, and I'm looking for suspension. Right now, I don't know. I think price is something that I'm looking at. Uh, and if I'm not mistaken, I think the Hero is under 3 grand right now, I believe. Don't quote me on that. And I believe it's under 3 grand. And the S20 is about $3,200. But I don't know. We'll see. I got to look more at the test. I would love if someone has a demo day in New York City. I will definitely go to the demo day to ride either the S20 or the Hero. And the final piece of the puzzle is, what is emotion doing? What is emotion doing? So I will make my final decision on the suspension wheel once emotion comes out and shows their cards. But as of right now, I think I'm leaning more toward the Hero. It could change, but I'm leaning more toward the Hero. So at one point, it was the S20 was at the top, but right now I'm going to put the Hero above the S20 for right now anyway. So I want to thank each and every one of y'all for joining me. If you like videos like this, you hit the thumbs up, sub to the channel. Hello, good night.